Good morning, students. Our chapter number 12, friction, is going on. In the first two periods, we learn about force of friction, factors affecting on the friction. In that we learn friction is depends upon the nature of the surface. Now, friction a necessary evil. This point is going on. In that we learn some examples which shows how friction is useful to us. Today we will see the remaining part of this chapter. Students, in the second period we learn some examples which shows that how friction is useful to us. In that we learn some examples like because of the friction how we are able to walk, how we are able to write. Now see the point. On the other hand, friction is evil too. It wears out the materials, whether are screws, ball bearings, and soles of the shoes. You must have seen worn out steps of foot over bridges at railway stations. Now we are aware about that the soles of the shoes. When we brought a new shoes, that time we are aware about that the soles are very good. But after 6-7 months, the soles of the shoes are worn out because of the friction. Friction can also produce heat. Vigorously rub your palms together for few minutes and how do you feel? And maybe you done this activity already in a winter season. In a winter season, now what you have to do, you have to rub your palms vigorously, very fastly. You have to do this activity, and after few minutes what you observe, your palms get heated up. When you strike a matchstick against the rub surface, it catches fire. You are aware about that. When you strike a matchstick against the rub surface, it catches the fire. You might have observed that the jar of a mixer becomes hot when it is run for few minutes. And another one example you are aware about that, when jar of the mixer it becomes hot after the preparation of any masalas or any other things are there, then after preparation it becomes hot because of friction. You can cite various other examples in which friction produces heat, and in your daily life you can aware about many more other examples also which shows friction produces heat. In fact, when a machine is operated, heat generated causes much wastage of energy. In fact, when a machine is operated, that time heat is generated and it causes the wastage of energy because we cannot use the heat energy, that heat energy. We shall discuss the ways of minimizing friction in the following section. Now, in the next section of this chapter, we are discussing about minimizing friction, how to minimize the friction. Now see our next point, increasing and reducing friction. Increasing and reducing friction. As you have seen in a previous section, friction is desirable in some situations. In the previous section, we learned that how friction is desirable in some situation, like how we are able to write, how we are able to walk. Now see, have you ever thought why the soles of your shoes is grooved? जर तुम्ही तुमच्या शूजचा ज्यावेळेस सोल बघता त्यावेळेस त्याच्यावरती लाईन्स वगैरे असतात, लाईन्स वगैरे दिलेले असतात, लाईन्स वगैरे प्रिपेअर केलेले असतात. ते का दिलेले असतात? तर प्रॉपर ग्रीप मिळण्यासाठी, प्रॉपर ग्रीप मिळावी आणि तुम्ही फ्लोअरवरती व्यवस्थित चालावं याच्यासाठी. Here it is already given the answer. It is done to provide the shoes better grip on the floor so that you can move safely. Similarly, the treaded tires of cars, truck or bulldozers provide better grip with the ground. Better grip with the ground. That you are also already aware about that cars, truck or even your bicycles also. They are on the bicycle tire also, they are providing a better grip. We deliberately increase friction by using brake pads in the brake system of the bicycles and automobiles. Deliberately, purposefully increases friction by using brake pads in the brake system of the bicycle and automobiles. We are aware about the brakes. When you riding a bicycle, the brake pads do not touch the wheels, but when you press the brake lever, These pads arrest the motion of the rim due to friction and the wheels stop moving. In that concept you are aware about that. When you ride the bicycles, that time that brake pads do not touch with the wheels, but whenever it is necessary to apply the brake, that time you are pressing the brake lever, and what happen, these brake pads that arrest the motion, that oppose the motion of the rim, and because of the due to friction the wheels stop moving. You might have seen that kabaddi players rub their hands with soil for better grip of their opponents, and maybe you are also doing when our sports meet will be there, that time also you are doing this activity when you are playing the kabaddi. Gymnasts apply some coarse substance on their hands to increase friction for better grip. When you saw that gymnast player, they are applying some coarse material, some powder material on their hand to increase the friction for the better grip. Now here in these situations we learn about how to increase the friction. Now see our next point. In some situations, however, friction is undesirable and we would want to minimize it. Now in the first part, we want to increase the friction. For our use. And now these situations. Now in some situations, however, friction is undesirable and we would want to minimize it. Now see which situations are there. Now the first question was asked there. Why do you sprinkle fine powder on the carom board? Maybe you are playing carom, and when we are playing the carom, that time we are sprinkle some fine powder on the carom board. Then any question will be arises in your mind, why we are sprinkling this powder? What is the use of that? What is the use? It reduces the friction between the surface of the carom board and the striker and the coins. And what is the result will comes? The coin striker can move easily on the carom board. You are aware about that. When you are not sprinkle the powder, that time what happen? The coins or striker cannot move easily on the carom board. You might have noticed that when a few drops of oil poured on the hinges of a door, the door moves smoothly. Maybe तुमच्या घरी किंवा शाळेमध्ये ज्यावेळेस बघितलं असेल की दरवाजा जर वर्कआउट होत नसेल व्यवस्थित, त्यावेळेस काय करतात, त्याच्या कड्या किंवा जे जॉईंट आहेत तिथे काय झालं, ऑइल सोडलं जातं आणि त्याच्यानंतर तो दरवाजा स्मूथली मूव्ह होतो. A bicycle and a motor mechanic uses grease between the moving part of the machines. Why? That also answer was given here, and you are already aware about that. The motor mechanic, they are uses oil or grease between the moving part of these machines. In all the above cases, we want to reduce friction. In order to increase efficiency. Efficiency कार्यक्षमता. त्याची कार्यक्षमता वाढवण्यासाठी आपण काय करतो? फ्रिक्शन रिड्यूस करतो. When oil, grease or graphite is applied between the moving part of the machine, a thin layer is formed there and moving surface do not directly rub against each other. Now why we are using, or why bicycle mechanic or motor mechanic, they are using oil or grease between the moving parts of the machine? The answer was given here. What is the use of that, or oil or grease? They are preparing a thin layer. In the moving surfaces, and because of that moving surfaces do not directly rub against each other. Interlocking of irregularities is avoided to great extent, and because of the using oil and grease, the interlocking process of irregularities is avoided, and the movement becomes smooth, and the particular movement it becomes smooth. The substance which reduce friction are called lubricants, and the substance which we are using to reduce the friction, that is called as a lubricant. Now here 2-3 examples are already mentioned here: oil, grease, graphite. These are the lubricants. In some machines, it may not be advisable to use oil as lubricant. Now some machines are there they advise do not use oil as a lubricant. An air cushion between the moving part is used to reduce friction, and there the air cushions are used between the moving part to reduce the friction. Now one question arises in Bojo's mind: can we reduce the friction to zero by polishing surfaces or using large amount of lubricants? Now he was thinking, can we reduce the friction at zero by polishing surfaces or using large amount of lubricants? Then Paheli given the answer: friction can never be entirely eliminated. We cannot eliminate friction entirely. No surface is perfectly smooth. Some irregularities are always there. In the world, no no matter or no any substance will be there which has a perfectly smooth. Some irregularities, minor irregularities are always there on the surface of the matter or the surface of the matter. Today up to this we covered. Remaining part we will see in the next period.